Welcome back to the Echoes of Earth podcast. In our previous episode, we explored themes of inner peace and cosmic connection. Today, however, we turn our attention to a topic that, while difficult to contemplate, is increasingly on the minds of many. My name is Nya Elyria, and I'll be guiding you through this crucial conversation about navigating international escape from the United States. The thought of leaving one's home, the place of your roots and memories, is a heavy one. It speaks to a level of concern about the stability and future of our nation that none of us take lightly. In this episode, we will delve into potential pathways for those who are considering such a significant step. We'll explore the complexities of immigration, the possibility of seeking asylum, the routes to residency in other countries, and even touch upon the profound decision of expatriation. We'll also discuss some of the vital considerations you need to weigh if you find yourself in this position, particularly if you have family abroad. Before we go any further, it is absolutely essential that I state this clearly. The information shared in this episode is for general informational purposes only. It is not and should not be taken as legal advice. The laws and procedures surrounding international relocation are intricate and vary greatly from country to country. If you are seriously considering leaving the United States, you must, I repeat, you must consult with qualified immigration lawyers in both the U.S. and your potential destination countries. They can provide you with the personalized guidance and legal expertise necessary for your specific situation. With that crucial understanding in place, let's begin to explore the landscape of options for finding safe harbor beyond our borders. Let's delve into the specifics of the key international pathways you might consider if you're contemplating leaving the United States. It's important to remember that each of these options has its own set of rules, requirements, and potential challenges, and the specifics can vary dramatically depending on the country you're considering. First, let's talk about immigration. In its simplest form, immigration is the process of moving to a foreign country with the intention of residing there permanently. For U.S. citizens, there isn't a single, universal immigration process. Instead, each country has its own set of immigration laws and categories. Some common pathways you might explore include skilled worker visas, where many countries have programs designed to attract individuals with specific skills, education, or professional experience that are in demand within their economy. These visas often require a job offer from an employer in the destination country and may involve assessments of your qualifications. Think about your professional background, your education, and any specialized skills you possess. These could be your entry ticket to a new country. Another pathway is family-sponsored visas, where if you have close family members who are citizens or permanent residents of another country, they may be able to sponsor your immigration. The definition of close family and the specific requirements for sponsorship vary significantly between countries. This is a crucial avenue to explore if you have established family ties abroad. Investment visas are another option, where some countries offer visas to individuals who make a significant financial investment in their economy, often through starting a business or purchasing property. The investment thresholds can be substantial, and the rules around these visas can be complex. Additionally, study visas, while typically temporary, pursuing higher education in another country can sometimes lead to opportunities for permanent residency down the line, especially if your field of study is in high demand. Finally, there can be other, more niche immigration categories depending on the country, such as those for artists, athletes, or individuals with exceptional abilities. It's vital to understand that the requirements for each of these categories can be quite stringent. You'll likely need to provide extensive documentation undergo background checks, and potentially meet language proficiency requirements. The application processes can also be lengthy and complex. Next, let's discuss asylum. Asylum is a legal protection granted by a country to individuals who have fled their home country due to a well-founded fear of persecution based on reasons such as race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. The key here is the fear of persecution, a credible threat to your safety or fundamental rights. If you are considering seeking asylum in another country, you would typically need to demonstrate that you have a genuine fear of persecution in the United States based on one of these protected grounds. This can be a challenging legal standard to meet, especially for citizens of countries generally considered to have a functioning legal system and protections for their citizens. However, depending on your specific circumstances and the evolving geopolitical landscape, it is a pathway worth understanding. The process for claiming asylum varies by country. Generally, it involves presenting yourself to the authorities in the country where you are seeking protection and formally applying for asylum. This will likely involve interviews, providing evidence to support your claim, and navigating the legal processes of that country. Now, let's move on to residency. Residency generally refers to the legal right to live in a particular country. This can be temporary or permanent. Often, obtaining permanent residency is the ultimate goal for those who immigrate. Temporary residency might be granted for specific purposes, such as work or study, and can sometimes lead to permanent residency after a certain period. Understanding the pathways to residency in your chosen country is crucial. What are the steps involved after you initially enter the country? What are the conditions you need to meet to maintain your residency and eventually become a permanent resident or even a citizen? These are vital questions to research. Finally, let's briefly touch upon expatriation. Expatriation is the act of formally renouncing your citizenship in your home country, in this case, the United States. This is a very significant and often irreversible decision with profound legal and personal consequences. While it might be a consideration for some in extreme circumstances, it's important to understand that it means giving up your rights and protections as a U.S. citizen. This is a drastic measure that should be considered with extreme caution and after seeking comprehensive legal and financial advice. As you can see, the landscape of international pathways is complex and multifaceted. In our next segment, we'll delve into some of the crucial considerations you need to take into account before even beginning to explore these options. Now that we have a general understanding of the different legal pathways, it's crucial to turn our attention inward and consider your own unique circumstances and what factors will significantly influence your choices. This segment will focus on some key considerations for individuals contemplating this move. First and foremost, take a hard and honest look at your personal circumstances. The specific reasons why you are considering leaving the United States will profoundly impact the options available to you. Are you facing direct threats? Are you concerned about the erosion of specific rights? Are your concerns primarily based on broader geopolitical instability? Clearly defining your motivations will help you narrow down potential destination countries and the most appropriate legal pathways. Next, financial resources are an absolutely critical factor. International relocation is an expensive undertaking. You'll need to consider the costs of visa applications, travel expenses for yourself and potentially your family, initial housing costs in a new country, and the funds needed to support yourself while you find employment or establish yourself. Different countries have different financial requirements for various immigration categories, so you'll need to research these thoroughly. Be realistic about your financial situation and whether you have the resources necessary to make such a move. Your skills and qualifications can also play a significant role. As we discussed earlier, many countries actively seek skilled workers in specific industries. Take stock of your education, professional experience, and any specialized skills you possess. Research which countries have a demand for your particular skills, as this could open up more immigration opportunities. Don't overlook health considerations. Access to health care varies greatly around the world. If you have specific medical needs or ongoing health conditions, you'll need to research the healthcare system in any potential destination country to ensure you'll be able to receive the care you require. Consider the costs of healthcare as well, as they can differ significantly from the U.S. system. Another vital aspect to consider is family abroad. If you have immediate or extended family members who are citizens or residents of another country, this could significantly influence your options. As we discussed in the immigration section, family ties can often facilitate the immigration process through sponsorship. Reach out to your family members, discuss your situation, and explore what possibilities might exist. However, also consider the profound emotional toll and logistical challenges if you have family who will remain in the United States. Leaving loved ones behind is a heavy decision, and it's important to acknowledge and process those feelings. Finally, destination country research is paramount. Don't make assumptions based on general perceptions. You need to delve deep into the specifics of each country you are considering. This includes researching the current political climate, the rule of law, and the protection of fundamental rights in the country to determine if it is a place where you feel you will be safe and secure. You also need to thoroughly investigate the specific immigration laws, visa requirements, and asylum procedures for U.S. citizens, with official government immigration websites being your best source of accurate information. Furthermore, consider the cultural norms, values, and language spoken in the country, and whether you are prepared to adapt to a new culture and potentially learn a new language. Lastly, research if there are organizations, communities, or government programs in place to assist immigrants and refugees with their integration into society. Thoroughly considering these personal circumstances and conducting in-depth research on potential destination countries are crucial first steps in this complex decision-making process. In our next segment, we'll move on to discuss some practical steps you can take and resources that might be available to you. Now that we've explored the different pathways and key considerations, let's talk about some concrete practical steps and resources that can help you navigate this complex process. First and foremost, thorough research cannot be overstated. This isn't a one-time task, it's an ongoing process. Continue to delve into the immigration laws and policies of the countries you are seriously considering. Don't rely solely on anecdotal information or general news reports. Your primary sources should be the official government websites of the immigration agencies of those countries. Look for specific visa requirements for U.S. citizens, asylum application procedures, and any information regarding residency pathways. Keep in mind that immigration laws can change, so it's crucial to stay updated on the latest regulations. Secondly, and I cannot stress this enough, seek legal counsel. Consulting with qualified immigration lawyers is absolutely essential. Look for lawyers who have experience in international immigration law, both in the United States and in your potential destination countries. They can provide you with personalized advice based on your specific situation, help you understand the complexities of the legal processes, and guide you through the application procedures. Don't hesitate to reach out to multiple lawyers for consultations to find someone you trust and who has the expertise you need. Begin to gather your documentation. This is a crucial step that you can start working on early in the process. You'll likely need a valid U.S. passport, birth certificates for yourself and any family members who will be relocating with you, marriage certificates if applicable, financial records, bank statements, tax returns, medical records, educational transcripts, and any other documents that might be required for visa applications or asylum claims. Organize these documents carefully and consider making copies, both physical and digital, for safekeeping. Financial planning is another critical aspect. Develop a detailed budget that outlines all the potential costs associated with relocating, including visa fees, travel expenses, initial housing, living expenses until you can secure employment, and any emergency funds. Explore options for transferring your funds internationally and understand the financial regulations of your potential destination countries. It might be beneficial to speak with a financial advisor who has experience with international money transfers and financial planning for expatriates. Finally, consider networking and information gathering from others who have gone through similar experiences. Look for online forums, social media groups, or organizations that connect expatriates or individuals who have sought asylum in other countries. Hearing first-hand accounts and advice can be incredibly valuable. However, always remember to verify any information you receive from these sources with official legal resources. Taking these practical steps will help you move forward in a more informed and organized manner as you explore your options for finding safe harbor beyond the United States. Remember to prioritize seeking professional legal advice at every stage of this process. If you're considering Europe as a potential haven, you'll be looking at a continent steeped in history and culture, offering a wide array of countries with varying approaches to immigration and asylum. One of the significant pros of seeking refuge in many European nations, particularly in Western and Northern Europe, is the generally high quality of life. This often translates to robust healthcare systems, strong public education, and comprehensive social safety nets, including unemployment benefits and support for vulnerable individuals. These countries often prioritize human rights and have well-established legal frameworks designed to protect individuals. Furthermore, many European cities have vibrant and active civil society organizations and activist networks that could potentially provide support and community for those seeking refuge. However, navigating the path to relocation in Europe also presents several cons. For individuals who are not citizens of the European Union, immigration laws can be quite complex and often require meeting specific criteria related to skills, education, or family ties. Obtaining work permits or long-term visas can be a bureaucratic process, often demanding extensive documentation and potentially requiring sponsorship from an employer within the EU. While asylum is a fundamental right under international law, the specific policies and the practical application of these policies can differ considerably between European countries. The level of welcome and the resources available to asylum seekers can vary, and the assessment of claims is often a rigorous and time-consuming process. The cost of living, especially in major cities and in Western and Northern European countries, can be substantially higher than in the United States. Language barriers are another significant consideration, as Europe is home to a multitude of languages, and while English is widely spoken in some areas, integration often requires learning the local language. Cultural adjustment, while enriching, can also be a challenging process. Finally, it's important to acknowledge the current geopolitical landscape. Events such as the war in Ukraine have significantly impacted refugee flows and asylum policies in several European nations, and this evolving situation could influence the reception and processing of asylum claims from other parts of the world. In terms of difficulties and legal processes, navigating the immigration and asylum systems in Europe requires meticulous attention to detail and a thorough understanding of the specific regulations of your chosen country. The application processes can be lengthy, and waiting times for decisions can be considerable. For immigration based on skills or employment, you'll likely need to provide detailed evidence of your qualifications and secure a job offer that meets specific requirements. For asylum claims, you will need to articulate a clear and credible fear of persecution, often supported by substantial documentation and personal testimony. It's highly advisable to seek legal representation from an immigration lawyer who specializes in European law. They can guide you through the complexities of the system, help you prepare your application, and represent your interests. International organizations like the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees UNHCR also play a role in overseeing refugee protection and can provide valuable information and resources. Be prepared for a potentially lengthy and demanding legal process that requires patience and persistence. Remember that each European country has its own specific procedures and criteria, so focusing your research on your potential destination is crucial. Considering Asia as a potential destination for refuge or relocation presents a landscape of immense diversity, both geographically and in terms of governmental policies. One of the primary pros of looking towards Asia is the sheer variety of nations, each with its own unique approach to immigration. For individuals with specific skills and qualifications, particularly in rapidly growing economies like India, China, Southeast Asian countries, and technologically advanced nations such as Japan and South Korea, there might be opportunities for skilled worker visas in sectors like technology, engineering, manufacturing, and finance. Some Asian countries may also offer a lower cost of living compared to many Western nations, although this varies significantly depending on the specific country and region. Furthermore, in many Asian cultures, strong family and community bonds can provide a sense of support, although integrating into these structures as a newcomer requires effort and understanding. However, the cons of seeking refuge or relocating to Asia can be substantial. The continent is home to a vast array of languages, and the linguistic barriers for someone coming from the U.S. can be significant, often requiring dedicated effort to learn a new language. Cultural differences can also be profound, impacting daily life, social interactions, and even business practices, necessitating a significant period of adjustment and a willingness to embrace new customs and norms. The level of human rights protections and the robustness of legal frameworks can vary considerably across Asia. It is crucial to thoroughly research the human rights record and the legal system of any country you are considering. In terms of asylum, many Asian countries are not signatories to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention or its related protocols, meaning they may not have formal legal frameworks for processing asylum claims in the same way as many European or North American nations. While some countries might offer protection to individuals fleeing persecution, this often occurs on an ad hoc basis or through the involvement of international organizations like the UNHCR, rather than through established national asylum laws. Geopolitical tensions are also a factor in various regions of Asia, including the South China Sea, the Korean Peninsula, and ongoing border disputes between certain nations, which could impact the overall stability and the political climate towards foreigners. Finally, the standard of living and the availability of social services can range dramatically. from highly developed nations with excellent infrastructure to developing countries with more limited resources. In terms of difficulties and legal processes, navigating the immigration systems in Asia can be intricate and often requires dealing with bureaucratic processes that may differ significantly from those in the U.S. Obtaining visas and permits can involve extensive documentation, language requirements, and potentially long waiting times. For those seeking asylum, the lack of formal asylum frameworks in many countries can make the process uncertain and challenging. You might need to rely on the UNHCR to advocate on your behalf. Legal assistance might be necessary to navigate these complex systems, but the availability and quality of legal representation can vary. It is vital to conduct thorough research into the specific immigration and any potential asylum policies of the Asian country you are considering, and to seek advice from legal professionals who are familiar with the laws of that particular nation. Building relationships with local communities and understanding the cultural nuances will also be essential for successful integration. South America offers a diverse range of countries that might be considered for refuge or relocation, each with its own set of attractions and challenges. One of the potential pros of looking towards South America is that many countries in the region have relatively more relaxed visa policies for tourists compared to some nations in Europe or North America. In some cases, U.S. citizens might be able to enter for a certain period without a visa or obtain tourist visas relatively easily, potentially allowing for an initial period to explore the country and assess long-term options. Additionally, the cost of living in many South American countries is generally lower than in the United States, which could be a significant factor for those with limited financial resources. This lower cost of living can apply to housing, food, transportation, and other daily expenses, although it's important to note that this varies greatly between countries and even within different regions of the same country. The continent is also incredibly rich in cultural diversity, with a blend of indigenous traditions, European influences, and unique local customs. For those who speak Spanish or Portuguese, the dominant languages in the region, integration might be somewhat easier, although even within these language groups, there can be significant regional variations in dialect and expression. Historically, many South American countries have a tradition of welcoming immigrants and refugees, and some have specific policies or programs aimed at attracting foreign residents. However, there are also significant cons to consider. Economic instability has been a recurring issue in several South American countries, and this can impact job opportunities, inflation rates, and the overall stability of the country. The level of social services and infrastructure, including healthcare, education, and transportation networks, can vary considerably between countries and may not be as developed as in some other parts of the world. Political instability can also be a concern in certain South American nations, and it's essential to research the current political climate and any potential risks to personal safety and security. Even if you speak Spanish or Portuguese, adapting to the local cultural norms and social customs can take time and effort. While some countries have asylum processes in place, often as signatories to the UN Refugee Convention, the efficiency and fairness of these processes can vary. Bureaucracy can also be a significant hurdle when trying to navigate immigration procedures or obtain long-term residency. In terms of difficulties and legal processes, while initial entry into some South American countries might be relatively straightforward for tourism, obtaining long-term residency or formal refugee status can still involve navigating complex bureaucratic systems. The specific requirements for different types of visas and residency permits will vary from country to country, and you'll likely need to provide extensive documentation and meet certain financial thresholds. Asylum processes, where they exist, will also have their own specific procedures and legal standards. It's crucial to thoroughly research the immigration and asylum laws of the specific South American country you are considering and to seek advice from qualified legal professionals who are familiar with the legal frameworks in that nation. Be prepared for potential bureaucratic delays and the need for patience and persistence throughout the process. Understanding the local legal and administrative culture will also be beneficial. Considering island nations as a place to seek refuge or relocate presents a unique set of factors to consider, with both potential attractions and significant challenges. One of the potential pros of some island nations is that they may offer relatively relaxed visa policies for tourism, allowing individuals to enter for a certain period, sometimes with visa, on arrival options for U.S. citizens. This could provide an initial opportunity to experience the island's environment and culture. Many island nations are also known for their slower pace of life, stunning natural beauty, and unique cultural heritage, which can be a significant draw for those seeking a different lifestyle. However, there are several cons that need careful consideration. Economic opportunities in many island nations can be quite limited, often heavily reliant on industries like tourism, fishing, or agriculture. Finding diverse employment that matches your skills and experience might be challenging. A significant concern for many island nations is their vulnerability to the impacts of climate change and natural disasters, including rising sea levels, hurricanes, cyclones, and other extreme weather events, which can pose a direct threat to safety and infrastructure. Access to essential services, such as specialized health care, higher education, and advanced infrastructure, might be more restricted or geographically limited compared to larger landmass nations. The remoteness of many island nations can also lead to feelings of isolation, and travel to and from these locations can be infrequent and expensive. Furthermore, immigration options for long-term stays beyond tourism or for seeking asylum are often very limited in island nations. Their economies and infrastructure may not be equipped to handle a large influx of people seeking refuge or long-term settlement. In terms of difficulties and legal processes, immigration policies in many island nations often prioritize short-term tourism or individuals who can make substantial financial investments in the local economy, such as through purchasing property or starting businesses that create local jobs. Obtaining long-term residency without significant investment or possessing highly specialized skills that are in critical demand might be very difficult. Formal legal frameworks for seeking asylum are often either non-existent or extremely limited in many island nations, as they may not be signatories to international refugee conventions or have the resources to process such claims. The legal systems in some island nations might also be unique and based on local traditions or a blend of international and domestic laws, which could be unfamiliar and challenging to navigate. It is crucial to thoroughly research the specific immigration policies of any island nation you might be considering, with a realistic understanding that options for long-term refuge or relocation may be very scarce. You should also consider the potential logistical challenges of reaching and living in a remote island location. As a final and truly last resort, for those facing the most dire circumstances and finding no other viable options for refuge, the idea of self-sufficiency on the ocean might cross one's mind. The romanticized image of sailing away on a sailboat, living off the sea with survival supplies, fishing gear, a radio, and satellite internet, might seem like an escape from geopolitical instability. However, it is crucial to understand that this option is fraught with extreme challenges and dangers and should only be considered in the most absolute emergency when all other avenues have been completely exhausted. Living independently on the open ocean requires an immense amount of knowledge, skill, and resilience. Navigation and seamanship are complex arts that take years to master, and without extensive experience, you would be at the mercy of the unpredictable and often violent nature of the sea. Survival skills are paramount. You would need to be proficient in obtaining fresh water, securing a consistent food supply through fishing or other means, and dealing with a wide range of potential emergencies, from equipment failures to severe weather. Access to medical care would be severely limited, and even minor injuries or illnesses could become life-threatening. Furthermore, the legal status of living on a sailboat in international waters can be complex, and you could potentially encounter authorities from various nations, leading to uncertain outcomes. The psychological toll of prolonged isolation and the lack of regular human contact should also not be underestimated. While the equipment a sailboat, survival supplies, fishing gear, a radio, and satellite internet could theoretically provide a degree of self-sufficiency, the initial investment would be significant and the ongoing maintenance and operational costs could be substantial. Therefore, while the idea of living off the ocean might hold a certain appeal as a radical form of escape, it is essential to recognize the immense difficulties and dangers involved. This should truly be considered only as an absolute last resort in the most extreme of circumstances, after all other possibilities have been thoroughly explored and exhausted. Now we reach the conclusion of our discussion today. We've covered a lot of ground, exploring the complex landscape of international pathways for those who may be considering leaving the United States due to geopolitical instability. While the prospect of such a move can feel overwhelming, understanding the options available to you, including immigration, asylum, residency, and even the drastic step of expatriation, is a crucial first step in navigating a challenging situation. Throughout this episode, we've consistently emphasized the absolute importance of taking informed action. This means dedicating the time and effort to thoroughly research the specific laws and policies of any country you are considering. And perhaps most importantly, it means seeking the guidance of qualified immigration lawyers in both the U.S. and your potential destination countries. Their expertise is invaluable in navigating the intricate legal processes and ensuring you are making the best decisions for your individual circumstances. If you are among those grappling with these difficult considerations, please know that you are not alone. The decision to contemplate leaving your home is a testament to the seriousness of your concerns and your commitment to seeking safety and security. Remember to prioritize your well-being throughout this process and to lean on any support networks you may have. In our next episode, we'll be shifting gears slightly to explore the fascinating history of South Florida and the Everglades, as well as a prediction for the next 100 years. We hope you'll join us then. Thank you for tuning into the Echoes of Earth podcast. We hope this episode has provided you with some helpful information and guidance during a potentially difficult time.